Hey there. Welcome to Cast Exposition, a live stream actual play of Dungeons & Dragons. I'm Tay, one of the trusty GMs. I'm excited to catch you up on what's been happening in my homebrew campaign, A World's Rebirth. Our story takes place in Nova Zemlya, a diverse landscape with a melting pot of races and advanced uses of magic. We start in Yosted, a chilly northern city in the heart of the Crystalline Dynasty. Guests arrive at the Church of St. Lune for the wedding of Alenora Lightless, daughter to Crown Empress Panji. Just as the nuptials get underway, wedding crashers arrive and wreak havoc on what should be the happiest day. Led by Mateo Windspear, his band of not-so-merry men try and harm the bride and her guests. As they begin to fail, Mateo opts to kidnap the Empress instead. A brave group consisting of a human rogue, a half-drow paladin warlock, a drow wizard, a human fighter, a human bard, and a warforged sorcerer with multiple personalities join forces and take Ahsoka, one of Mateo's right-hand prisoner. The new group of adventurers make a deal with the Dunes, a well-established thieves guild who gives them one task in exchange for info on their shady blue boy. Retrieve a deadly poison known as blood honey. Simple, right? They begin thinking that they can just go and buy this poison and head to the Twisted Spoon Apothecary. Learning this could be a little more than a shopping trip, they decide to leave Ahsoka at the Crystal Palace, while they go and take stock of the lower apothecary floors. After failing to unlock a puzzle-bound box, the group battles snakes that were summoned to defend the box's contents. Eventually succeeding, they find a jar of blood honey laying inside the box. After a long night's rest in various locations, the group reconvenes to only find Ahsoka has gone missing. Panicked, they meet back up and complete their first deal with the Dunes. The group learns that Mateo is the rejected offspring of the Daughters of the Wave, a group of powerful water genasi women who keep balance on their plane. After being offered an airship by Dune's associate Augusta, the party agrees to a second set of terms. Attain a book. Simple, right? It would be if this book didn't also happen to be an ancient evil relic, and it was heavily guarded, and oh my god, it's also in a city that's not on a map. What are they going to do? Taylor, breathe. It's fine. They're fine. They get out okay. Augusta, associate of the Dunes, agrees to arrange travel for them on an airship. But to do so, they need to get past the Jade Stockade, a wall heavily monitored blocking off the Jade Empire from the rest of Nova Zemlya. After brainstorming their story, Lucian, the Hexblade Warlock and Oathless Paladin, takes a little bit of time to visit his friend Lena for some advice, while Callus, the human fighter, and Maylin, the human rogue, spend a little bit of time getting to know each other. Meanwhile, Valley, the wizard, and Molly, the bard, take some rest and regain their resources and abilities. Somewhere else in a field, the wild and wonderful Four, our warforged sorcerer, prays to his god Nalroth, who, during the prayer, we learn he's his dad. Boarding their first airship, the new group of friends learn it's actually a senior's leisure cruise. Fruity pineapple drinks in tow, they discover shuffleboard and quickly form their competitive team, the Pucks of Doom. After looking through some boxes in the storage hold, they find copious amounts of poison, including blood honey. They put their two and two together and realize perhaps the food was also poisoned. During their wandering, the group finds the body of a crew member they had just finished speaking to, except for this time her body is split and splayed from toe down to back, totally disemboweled. The group takes a minute to rack their brains, figuring out everything they know about poison, and settle on Midnight's Tears because it uses blood honey as one of its key ingredients. They also know that Midnight's Tears takes 24 hours to work. The party does their best to warn crew members, only to split up into three groups. Four takes Molly back to her room because she's fallen ill. Valley and Callus wander off to the bridge to speak with the captain, and Maylin and Lucian head down to the galley and crew mess. Callus and Valley are then attacked by the captain, who is actually a wereshark. Thankfully, though, Molly and Four are safe and sound. Somewhere down in the galley, Malin and Lucian have slaughtered zombie chef Giuseppe and his army of line cooks. After defeating their various obstacles, the group reconvenes sans Molly, who is still ill. They eventually find a closet full of skin suits, including that of Mateo and Ahsoka. In addition to skin suits, they find a crawl space where Empress Panji Lightless has been bound and trapped. Thankfully, she is still alive. Valley realizes that nobody is steering the airship amidst this chaos and runs back to the bridge, splitting the party for the second time. As she reaches the wheel, Malin falls unconscious, and Lucian stabilizes her with his lay on hands. Unbeknownst to the group, Valley also falls unconscious as the poison takes hold. She does not survive, and Valley dies at the wheel of this cursed airship. A ship now full of dead senior citizens, the Pucks of Doom continue to adventure and stumble across a room of soul survivors who are guarded by half-drow cleric who introduces herself as Eclipsa. With Callus's pep talk in their minds...
Between the three of us, alright? Well, maybe May, if she wants to join the Pucks of Doom. Anyway, between the three of us...
Yes,
we figured out how to master and play a game that none of us have ever heard of. I'm sure that we can figure out how to pilot a fucking skyboat, alright? It can't be that hard.
Yeah. The group heads back to the captain's bridge, where they learn that the ship is being piloted by a magic map. They reset the course to head back to Yosted, but the group decides to disembark through a magic portal. Molly, however, is still ill from ingesting all of the poison and returns Empress Panji back to Yosted herself. Once through the portal, the party begins to battle a group of skin crawlers while being tempted by the effigy of Shar. Following some tracks through a dark cave, they meet a skilled artificer named Haragash who has the cutest little mechanical companion. They quickly decide to dub Haragash Harry for simplicity.
So Harry it is.
And invite him to join in on their adventure where they exit the caves. Eventually, they're faced with a choice. Venture through this sketchy tower that is right ahead of them, or go to Yuuzhan Koi. Will it be safe and sound? Obviously, sketchy tower wins. This tower turns out to be a series of rooms designed to test and traumatize the party in order for them to continue forward. After battling and bickering and receiving a number of boons and burdens through several layers of the tower,
you may cast the wish spell one time.
Oh, shit.
Oh, man.
the party finally gets to the top of the tower where they find instructions for an exorcism. The party takes a well-earned rest in Quail, a quaint, quiet town familiar to their new friend Eclipsa. Meanwhile, Haragash, aka Harry, studies one of the gifts that have been bestowed to them on by the tower, a sentient elemental volcano they affectionately dub Rumbles. During breakfast the next day, a portal to the Feywild opens up in the middle of the casino in which they have been resting, and Four is called home to answer for his crimes. Who knew Four was a war criminal? While some of the party does enjoy their well-earned rest, Eclipsa now decides that it's the perfect time for a shopping spree. She ends up meeting Fabian, a suave and sassy shopkeep who wants only one thing, the blood of a Fey. Little does Eclipsa know that the party has a secret Fey. She goes and asks May for help obtaining this blood, and May returns with a hard no, because, spoiler alert, May is the secret Fey. Being the protective and kind soul he is, Callus agrees to accompany and escort Eclipsa on the adventure ahead, bringing her to the nearby satyr village. Along the way, they run into Rakesh, an older man who is a monk, and he just happens to be blind and an acquaintance of Callus's. Did he mention he is blind? Because, guys, Rakesh is blind. Once getting to the village, the smaller group finds that they've all been slaughtered, and they actually see a trail of blood and footprints leading to Yuuzhan Koi. The three of them now return to Quill and share their findings with Thaben, the sassy shopkeep. To try and save their deal, Eclipsa offers her own blood instead. After being extremely persistent, Thaben caves and agrees. He bites her wrist, sending a chilling pain through her body and leaving an icy white scar on her flesh. He then reveals that his brother is Mateo, and he's probably to blame for the slaughtering of the village. He then turns into a large white dragon and flies away. Meanwhile, Callus almost gets taken over by an evil spirit that just happens to be possessing him, while she's sitting there going, "Let me give you power. Let me give you power. I just want to walk again." May finds out about this, and being the protective lass she is, stands up for her and her friend and pisses off the spirit. The parties take stock of their inventory and decides to leave for Yuuzhan, only to hope they find out more about the spirit now known as Bella Luna. While making haste towards Yuuzhan, Callus is reunited with his fatherly figure Xander. While this sounds like a happy moment, this is actually where our story takes a dark turn. A fight breaks out at the base of Yuuzhan. The group struggles to make it past the first line of defense of their attackers. A set of pale white twins come forward and begin chanting a song, and Callus starts to walk towards Mateo, taking swings at his companions. Malin sees this and runs and makes haste towards him, jumping on his back, trying to pull him back to their allies. In the process of begging for his safety, Malin confesses that she is in love with Callus. Mateo and his crew teleport out of sight, making Callus their cargo bag, disappearing to who knows where. The now extended yet incomplete Pucks of Doom decide they're going to continue on to the library of Yuuzhan instead of going straight for Callus. Harry gets in good with Javier, the head page of the Prism Library. They end up getting information on dragons and Bella Luna and wanders mildly and teleportation of all kinds. Archmage Pollux can teleport the group and will do so, however they can only do it once, and it is in exchange for a fee later to be obtained. They agree to go to Rotund, the capital of the Dark Republic, home of Lucian and Malin. Bonus points to the fact that this is only about a week's travel away from the mountain range in which Callus was taken to. In Rotund, they meet Eliza Moonshadow, the mother of Lucian, who informs him that he's going to be a big brother. Oh, and the body of his dead girlfriend was taken. Darn. During a good night's sleep, Malin and Xander get close and write the chant that they're going to use to separate Callus from the spirit haunting him. That same night, Lucian is named Char's Chosen, and he is now considered the champion of loss. He decides to give Char a cute nickname and now calls her Muscle Mommy. Morning comes and the group heads out to find Callus. They enter a cave and barely make it past the beholder, at the expense of the death of their sentient volcano Rumbles. In the next room, Callus is laid out on an altar, and Glory, Lucian's girlfriend, is on another, both unresponsive. The party completes the ritual to separate Bella Luna from Callus.
We
We
banish
banish
you,
You
fucking
fucking
bitch!
Bella Luna enters Glory's body and escapes out of the cave. Xander, being the kind man he is, offers to take everyone to his home, getting them out of there. What he failed to mention is that his home is in the Feywild. Oops. May explains the rules of the Feywild, considering she is a Fey. Don't speak to anybody. Don't take things from anybody. Don't tell your name. Basically, don't have fun. The party chooses to take shelter in Xander's home and come to terms they have to restock on supplies. Choosing to split the party again, everyone besides Malin and Callus end up going out. On their shopping trip to Xenophilius' overzealous emporium, they meet Alote, the guardian of the Fey Junction, a sweet rabbitkin who offers a history lesson about past events.
So with the first group, when they caused chaos, you said that they
Yes.
weren't allowed to keep their memories. What do you mean? Do you beat people until they forget, or do they drink something, or what?
I, Alote, the Celestial Guardian, beat people to a living pulp with my paws of thunder. And you just see him, smack the air. No, fuckhead. The 9 are very powerful. They take away everything you know.
Once they are done shopping, the party find out that Caprina, the unicorn, can potentially heal Eclipse's scar, but she's been in hiding for who knows how long. Harry meets Cornelius, an axolotl who grants him one wish in exchange for nothing but his friendship. Harry asks for the return of Rumbles, his volcano companion. The now smoke elemental starts giving Harry visions of his time as Rumbles, confirming his love for his blue friend. The Council of Nine pays a visit to the group, and during their conversation it is revealed that Xander has conned and schemed his way into taking over the title of the Traveler, who just happens to be a prime deity. The party catches Xander conspiring with a demonkin just outside of his home. Deciding that they need to move, most of the party goes to a town known as Bloom. Diplomacy is attempted with Lucian taking disguise as May, but Bloom's leaders decide that Rakesh is who they want to talk to. Rakesh promises he will return to the Feywild and live out his days here should Bloom's government give him some assistance. Suddenly, the Pugs of Doom are getting everything they've ever wanted. Bloom's leadership heal Callus of his exhaustion, and then they all get the rundown from May. Angered, Callus calls out to Xander and severs his devotion to the Traveler entirely, who then gets a 24-hour time period to decide where his loyalties lie. Bloom's leaders Blossom, complicated I know, gives directions to Caprina the Unicorn, and the party gets permission to use the underground taverns that have been guarded by a pod of Silkies. Deep in these mysterious taverns, a ticking noise is heard. Tick, tick, tick. It mimics the noise that happened when Callus smashed the stopwatch gifted to him by the Traveler. Eclipsa, Harry, and Malin all quickly go unconscious after being consumed by a cloud of thick smoke. Callus, Rakesh, and Lucian pick up their friends and carry them out by way of a path lit by Muscle Mommy herself. On the other side is a seemingly endless staircase which leads to a gorgeous glen. Inside Glen, Caprina the Unicorn. Q meeting her, who is a powerful being with a vendetta against a pair of brothers. These brothers came and slaughtered her newborn daughter, trying to harvest her tear ducts and her horn. After talking with Caprina and finding out that she cannot heal Eclipsa, they are gifted 2 vials of her tears, and they strike a deal. Kill her daughter's murderers, and she will bring one of the group's loved ones back to life. Exiting the Feywild comes quick for the Pucks of Doom. They settle on an exit point just outside of Rotund and the Temple of Shar. Upon entering the material plane and getting their land legs back in working order, they notice the unthinkable. The Temple of Shar is burnt to a crisp. Nothing but burning embers and ashes lay everywhere. The party quickly begins to search for survivors, hoping to find anybody alive. Sadly, they find just the opposite. Lucian's loved ones have all been beheaded and hung on pikes. His mother's body has been sliced and her new sibling taken from her womb. The skull of his long-past father has been placed gently and perfectly in her hand, as if this was a tragic play. Callus decides this is the time to call it to Xander and express his anger. He learns that Xander is the one that is causing all of this trauma as revenge to Callus. And Callus is not willing to give Xander the one thing he wants, the blood of his Fey friend Malin. Meanwhile, Eclipsa goes and supports Lucian with some compassionate words. Rakesh and Harry look through the remaining rubble in hopes to get any clues of why this might have been the target, and Malin wanders back into town to reconnect with former employer Sneasel. And there you have it. You're basically caught up on A World's Rebirth. Tune in Sunday, June 17th at 7 a.m. And when I say June, I definitely meant July. July 17th at 7 a.m. Eastern Time to see what comes next for the Pucks of Doom. I'm your GM Tay, signing off one last time, and we'll see you next time on Cast Exposition.